Swimming is boring. Wow, you actually have to stand all the time while playing soccer? Guess I'm gonna row then. As far as I remember, these were my thoughts when signing up for the local rowing club close to my home in 2009. At first, rowing to me was all about the social aspect. The sport was fine, but I didn't really love it. While growing older, the sport became more and more important. I rowed my first races and enjoyed competing against other kids. But still, my friends were the main motivation to regularly show up to practice. In 2012, I started with competitive rowing and training on a daily basis. After the first unsuccessful year, I managed to find motivation over the winter and gain speed and strength. In early spring, I found a good matching pair partner named Titos. The pair is one of the hardest boat classes. It requires rowing in perfect synchrony. Every movement has to match up with your partner. You gotta have the same feeling for the boat and also socially work together. But when all this comes together, one is rewarded with the most majestic feeling one can have. This is what makes rowing such a tempting sport. The work is hard, but the rewards are high. Our combination worked well for almost 2 years. That was also the time of my first successes. We were able to win 2 national championships and qualified for the German national B team. The next year wasn't that successful, as I got lazy and didn't train as hard as I had to. As a consequence of that, the following racing season didn't go too well, causing me and Titus to go our separate ways. Finding a new pair partner is hard, as it has to be a perfect match, both technique-wise and socially. I got very lucky when finding my next pair partner, Niklas. We matched up well enough and became really close friends. The next year approaching was the year of possible nomination for the Junior World Championships. This was the event everybody worked for the past 4 years. It's the crown of junior rowing. But there are only 20 spots on the men's heavyweight sweeping team. So we worked hard through the whole winter. In rowing, winters are the toughest part of the season. Most of the time is spent on the rowing machine, also called erg. To most rowers, the erg is equivalent with pain and agony. You spend hours and hours on the machine, staring at the numbers, and feel your muscles getting more and more tired with every stroke. Winter is a hard time, marked by short days and countless hours in the weight room or in the machine. After going to winter camp in Varese, Italy, we were ready for the coming season. When spring of 2016 arrived, we could finally begin racing. Although we went in pretty optimistic, we didn't finish well in the first few races. In the first of 2 ranking races, we finished 16th, but only 10 pairs make the team. After that, we gathered all of our forces, put in extra training hours and sacrificed a lot of our time. Everything just for the second and all-deciding ranking race on our home course in Hamburg. The night before the all-deciding semifinal, which would decide whether we had a chance or not, I could only sleep 4 hours. I was thinking over and over again that this was the most deciding race I had so far. Everything I had worked for the past 6 years would be decided in the next morning. When we had the final talk with our coach, I was as nervous and focused as I'd ever been before. Rowing up to the starting line was intense. In the last seconds before the lights would turn green and our boat released on the 2,000-meter long course, I reminded myself once again how important this race would be. My memories after the start horn sounded are not very profound. The only thing I remember is the boat flying over the water and me rowing in harmony with my partner. We ended up on winning the races by a close margin and being officially nominated for Worlds in that year. After ending up in the German 8 after a week of selection, we went on to Berlin to go through 4 weeks of training camp. Niklas and me became even better friends and we had a great time together with the rest of our crew. After the camp, we went on to the championships in Rotterdam. After a week of acclimatization and further practice, we had our first race in the heats. Losing this race so clearly to the S was a big blow for us, and we needed all our willpower and team spirit to get eyes on the title again. 4 days later, the big day was finally there. With a big portion of excitement, we drove to the course, had our last team meeting, and drove up to the start. There it finally was, the race I had been working for my entire rowing career.
We're already underway now with the last race of the whole championships, the A final of the junior men's 8s. New Zealand, Italy, USA, Great Britain, Germany and the Netherlands. Martin, looking like a tight one here.
It is 8 days, 432 races, and it all comes down to this, as it must, the final of the junior men's eights. How many times have you seen the bows of the German eight out in front? That's what they are now, fast tailwind condition. These boys are loving it. They're ahead now of the British and the American crew. The Germans have gone out quickly. They've got an overlap on the Americans, but I tell you what, it's very brave stroking from Niels Koscher from Mannheim. They are still head-to-head with the powerful Americans. Gordon Johnson in the stroke seat, the man from Connecticut. He's powering through. The Americans just have the lead. Less than 650 to go. You still can't split them in America. That is amazing from the German crew. The Americans have got to find a charge from somewhere. They beat the Germans in the heat. They had a quicker last 500 by 4 seconds in the heat than the Germans, but the Germans are still there. Britain just holding in that bronze medal position, nearly a length on New Zealand. The Americans stretch out now. Brian Direct, their coach, he will be gnawing his fingernails. Yeah, the Germans, the Americans, they're sprinting like mad. This is what rowing is all about. This is what we came here to see. Who's going to win?
It's going to be so tight. Gordon Johnson takes the American eight up over 40 strokes a minute. They're pulling away from Germany now, solidifying their lead for a gold medal here. The Germans just aren't reacting quick enough. Fastest boat on the water out there, the Americans. The Germans are sprinting now. They're up over 40. They've taken over as fastest boat on the water. They're pulling back on the Americans. This is going to come down to the line. They're absolutely neck and neck. You cannot split these two. 10 metres to go. It's on the surge of the stroke. I can't split them. There's no way to split those two over the line. The official results are coming in, and I can tell you that Germany are the world champions in the junior men's eights. Time across the line, 5:38.58, 300ths of a second ahead of the USA, who takes silver. Bronze medal goes to Great Britain, 4th place New Zealand, 5th Italy, and 6th the Netherlands.